Hey everybody, Rick with Let's Level Up, and today we're going to be taking a look at Steve Jackson Games' Munchkin Cthulhu. Now, while I may have my reservations about Munchkin and some of its different games and the different flavors that they hide onto things, I think Munchkin Cthulhu is a perfectly fine game, and it's a lot of fun. And you may know that I am a complete Mythos fanboy, and that may be swaying into what how I feel about this game. But truly, it is one that I think is fun. In this game, you're going to be just a normal, everyday human. There are going to be no races involved in this game, but several different classes, which all get pulled from the Mythos themselves. So things like the Investigator, or even the nefarious cultists, are representative in this game. We'll be kicking down doors, which are kind of portals to the other world, and seeing which different Oggoths or Cthulhu himself may pop out, fighting those monsters, gaining levels, and potentially being the first one to hit that race to 10, which is standard Munchkin for winning the game. Now you can play Super Munchkin rules with this and go to level 20 if you'd like, and still have a blast with it. Now, I think all Munchkins suffer from a few different things. If you just have 3 players, it's not necessarily the best game. If you have too many players, it's not necessarily the best game. This game is really best with 4 to 5 players, I think, just like any Munchkin is. This core set comes with 168 cards, so there's a lot of different variations in what you can do, and it plays pretty spectacular, I feel. So it's very new. So if you haven't had a chance to experience all the different flavors of Munchkin, I definitely recommend you checking out Munchkin Cthulhu. Now we're going to allow this to hit the table really quick, and then after that give you our final thoughts to Steve Jackson Games' Munchkin Cthulhu. Munchkin Cthulhu by Steve Jackson Games. This is a very fun game, I think. If you're a fan of the Mythos, if you're a fan of Munchkin, it's good. And I admit I sound a little bit unsure of myself here. I battle with Munchkin. I've had some really, really fun times with Munchkin, and I've had some really, really frustrating times with Munchkin as well. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for me. And again, I think it always boils down to that sweet number of players. So just like setting up for normal Munchkin, each player is going to receive 4 doors to start with, and 4 treasure cards. And I apologize for not shuffling those. And we're going to be able to play. So again, what's nice about this is that the white cards here are our treasure cards, so we always know, and then the yellow kind of back cards are our door cards. With this, we're also going to get the nice evasion die, or the flee die, the runaway die. And of course, the Munchkin Cthulhu manual, which is also very nice. So an example of play is that every turn I'm going to flip the top card of the door over. Now if it's a monster, I have to fight it here. And the monsters will generally have a level. Let me flip through here. Give me a monster. There we go. Here's a level 1 Joggoth. So at the base of the game, you start out as a level 1 character. So now my 1 has to beat the monster's 1. And to do that, I'm going to play things like the Miskatonic University t-shirt, which is going to allow my character to get another +1. Or +1 bug spray, which is now I have +3 to add to my natural level of 1, which gives me an effective combat level of 4. Which is higher than the Joggoth's value of 1. Now, if I beat a monster, I'm going to get its number of treasures here in the corner and at least 1 level, sometimes more, depending on the monster. So right now, I'm at a 4, and engaging in combat with this Joggoth. Now, every other player at the table is going to be able to make a decision on whether or not they want to hurt or help me. Now, generally, if I'm already beating the monster, I don't have to do anything. Or rather, I don't need any help. So there's generally not going to be much help coming from the other players. But there could be things coming in like a wandering monster. So another player could play a wandering monster card and then play the King in Pink, which brings in another level 16 monster. So now I have to beat 2 monsters, one level 1, one level 16. And I've got to have at least 17 combat strength in order to do that because of my particular scenario. Now, what's really good about Munchkin is that even though somebody just stabbed me in the back and brought this other monster in, I may be able to still find a way to win. If I know in my hand I've got other buffs that I can do, like Thickericker's not going to help, the Necronomicon could help. I can't play that right now though because I'm already in combat and that is technically an equipment. I can also ask the table for help. So I can make a formal plea of help, and there may be a combat level guy of 15 on the other side of the table because he's got the best items in the game, and I may be able to persuade him or her to actually help me out. So I know here from defeating these two, I'm going to get 3 levels plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 treasures. So that's where the bargaining power comes in. If I know a guy can help me and he actually agrees to assist me in combat, he's going to add their level, he or she's going to add his or her level to the combat, plus any of the effective bonuses that they want to throw in. So let's say that happens, and we get 15 more levels. So now we're sitting at 18. Yes, we're going to beat both of these monsters. That still doesn't stop the table from stabbing us in the back. Where's more Munchkin shines. This game, known amongst my friends, is a game that ends friendships. And against your local FLGSs, if you know the Munchkin players there, you'll know that they could probably echo that. This game can be really frustrating because it could take your sweet, beautiful wife and just turn her into a devil woman hell-bent on making sure you lose the game. Maybe speaking from past experiences there. But this is something that really is where the game shines. The cards and everything is very, very tongue-in-cheek. The whole mechanics of the game are very, very easy to play, easy to understand, but it all comes on to one of my favorite mechanics ever, which is just table politics. Can I sway you to help me without angering the rest of the table? Where Munchkin gets really frustrating to me is at the latter part of the game. Basically, when I get to level 9, or somebody gets to level 9 at the table, they become the biggest target ever. All players will throw out all the stops and essentially make sure that that player doesn't win the game. So that's when the game's over. This is something that is a little bit frustrating and needs some balancing. Oftentimes what I see is that we have 2 players in that running, one at level 9, one at level 8, or something like that. And then when the level 9 monster, or whenever the level 9 guy goes into combat, everybody blows their wad making sure that they don't win, which allows the level 8 guy to kind of sneak up behind everybody and win. Which happens more than I think doesn't happen, depending on the given scenario. But overall, again, this is a game, it's a lot of fun, and this is a very quick tutorial, kind of quick look at things. We're going to look at some of the cards here now, the different classes, and some of the things that make this game unique versus normal Munchkin. Alright, in this game there are 4 particular types of character classes that characters can be, starting with the Professor. He has 2 different abilities, which is Book Learning and Publish or Perish. So his Book Learning ability says, whenever you are the lowest level player or tied for lowest at the end of your turn, you may go up a level for every 3 cards you discard from your hand. His Publish or Perish says, if you successfully run away from a monster whose bad stuff includes death, go up a level. The Investigator says Sneak and Peek and Foolhardy. Now, the Investigator Sneak and Peek ability says that you look secretly at the first door each turn. You may choose to discard 3 cards in your hand and put the new door into your hand without showing it, and then turn over the next door. And then also Foolhardy. It says when you look for trouble in wind, you draw an extra treasure. The Investigator is a very, very good card. Then there's the Monster Whacker, who has Overconfidence. You give +2 bonus against monsters of level 10 and below. And you have Panic. You have a -2 penalty against monsters of level 16 and above. So Monster Whacker is a little bit of a double-edged sword. All things lead to madness in the Cthulhu Mythos, which leads us to our 4th and final class. This is the Cultist. Now, the Cultist has strength in numbers and gets a combat bonus of +2 for every other Cultist in play. And it says Madness. You can never voluntarily stop being a Cultist. And there are a couple different cards in the Munchkin universe that allow you to stop, and I think there's one within this set that allows you to stop being a cultist. But overall, once you become a cultist, it's very, very difficult to no longer be a cultist. And once you become a cultist, you're going to really want to play the other cards that allow you to make other players at the table a cultist, because that's when you get stronger. So overall, again, very, very tongue-in-cheek, as would be expected by now for any Munchkin game. And we're going to take a look at a couple of the different monsters here as well. Okay, we have a few different monsters here. The first is the level 20 Great Cthulhu. If you happen to defeat this monster, you get 2 levels and 5 treasures. It says Great Cthulhu gets +4 bonus if there are any non-cultists fighting him. The bad stuff says, not only are you dead, but everyone who Great Cthulhu did not catch goes up a level. Just to mock you, your new character is a cultist after you die. Then we have, the most adorable Chibi Cthulhu ever. It's just +4 against females. The bad stuff is that cultists fall hopelessly in love and must give Chibi Cthulhu the item that gives them the highest bonus. Others must give Chibi Cthulhu one item of their own choice. And we have Mr. H.P. Munchcraft here. H.P. Munchcraft gives +3 against investigators. If you are not a cultist, you become a cultist immediately just from meeting H.P. Munchcraft. His bad stuff is none. You're a cultist now, and he'll let you go. And then we have in level 2 Graham Smoker. She is undead. She gives you 1 treasure and has +3 against males. Male Munchkins cannot help you in a fight either. Bad stuff's cough up your lungs and lose a level. So that's some pretty terrible bad stuff there. She's one that's really tough early on in the game, specifically if you're a guy. And yeah, she'll hurt you real bad. But those are a couple examples of the monsters, and I think you get the point, right? So overall, Munchkin Cthulhu, again, is a game that's going to be very, very tongue-in-cheek, very, very Munchkin, but again, it has that little Mythos flair that makes it, to me, stand out above its natural predecessor. Well, that about does it for Munchkin Cthulhu. Now, listen, I could say I'm sorry for this, but I'm just not. This mask is awesome. It's actually from my wife's Etsy shop, and if you'd like more information about that, hit me up on Twitter, because she can make pretty much anything out of crochet and loves doing geek stuff like this. That being said, it is a little hot in here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the mask up. Munchkin Cthulhu is a really fun game, again, as you saw from the table play. Overall, if you're a fan of Munchkin, I think you're going to like this game. If you're a fan of the Mythos, I think you're going to like this game. If you have a playing group for 4 to 5 players and looking for something that's not necessarily going to break the bank and not necessarily something you have to replay over and over again to really experience it, Munchkin Cthulhu is a great game for you. If you've played other Munchkin titles before and it's just not your cup of tea, you can probably safely pass on Munchkin Cthulhu, and I don't think anybody at Steve Jackson Games would be too offended by that. I'd like to thank them for making this game. It is, to me, a whole lot of fun, and I hope you guys like this video. If you do, please give us a thumbs up. I realize I'm still wearing this on the top of my head. That's give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but most importantly, game on.